Update: am I the a-hole for asking my sister to leave after she tried to kick me out of my own house? Original post. My 26 female sister, who I'll call Emily, moved in with her husband, 29 male, who I'll call Roger, 2 years back. Emily and I were never very close, but we were family nonetheless. Recently, they decided to get their house renovated, and because it's been quite disastrous at their place, they asked if they could move in with me last week. I was a little shocked because we haven't spoken in a while, but I said it would be fine with me. Suddenly, Emily wanted to have a talk. She asked if her and Roger could have the place to themselves on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. I asked where she thinks I can go. Her response? I don't know, get a motel. She continued to tell me how I can afford a couple days in a motel and it won't kill me. She told me it's nothing against me, it's just that they have their own traditions and like to spend the holiday together. They chose to get their house renovated during this time, knowing it would interfere with their Christmas traditions. So, I asked them to leave. I can't put my life on hold and move out because they want to spend the holiday with each other. They won't be homeless, my parents took them in, but they called me absolutely infuriated because I refused to let them stay, and wouldn't let them enjoy the holiday after all the trouble they went through with the renovations. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. I'm not even sure how you could possibly think you're the a-hole here. What an audacious thing to ask you to do. I didn't, until my parents made me feel like the Grinch. Ask them how they'd feel being asked to leave their own home during Christmas, and pay for their own motel to do so, nonetheless. I'm aghast. Not the a-hole. Ha ha ha, wow, what self-entitled a-holes. Leave your home on Christmas Eve and Christmas please, because we have our own traditions. Not the a-hole. I'm starting a new Christmas tradition of kicking freeloaders out of my house. There's the door, if it hits you on the way out, it's a Christmas bonus. Info: are your parents leaving their house on Christmas so your sister can host her annual intercourse under the tree party? Like, loud or kinky action is the only thing that makes sense here for why she asked you to leave your own house. Obviously not the a-hole. My exact thoughts. They must have some weird actual traditions if they wanted the whole house to themselves. Edit: thank you for the awards and support. I keep seeing the "how could you be an a-hole" comment. I understand it, but my entire family did turn against me. That sort of thing messes with your head. Thank you nonetheless for all of your help. And now for update. It has been a few months since my last post and a lot has changed. After Christmas, my sister called me to apologize for what she had said. She told me she had been dealing with a lot of issues at that time and she didn't mean what she said. I felt sorry for her, I really did, so I told her all was okay and that she and Roger are forgiven. Fast forward a month, and Emily and Roger are getting separated. I don't know their business, but I know that financial problems were a big part of it. She had asked to stay with me again and I, feeling sorry for her, said okay. The first day she came to stay with me was great. We got along well, ordered takeout and watched a movie together. Something we haven't done since we were very young. Keep in mind that my house has 3 bedrooms, one belongs to me, one is a guest bedroom and one is just a pretty much empty room. I decided to furnish the smaller guest room instead of the bigger one, as I keep my violin and other instruments in there. She was staying in my guest bedroom, a very small space with just a bed and a nightstand. This was a downgrade from her living space, but she didn't seem to mind. About 2 nights after she came, she asked if there's any way that she can switch the rooms. Keep in mind that I had no idea how long she was planning on staying, so I didn't think it was a big deal. The room has a comfortable bed and a nightstand with some drawers. It's not permanent, so I told her no. This was when the bigger problems started. She began to leave her dirty clothes and dishes all over the floor. She'd stained a quilt that a close friend of mine had made for me with food. I asked her to please keep my rooms tidy and she started to break down crying. She told me she was feeling very down and that she is sorry. I understand this sort of thing, but I still asked her to keep tidy as she was living here for free. She kept doing it, however, and I asked her to leave again to stay with my parents. Jerk move? Maybe, but the room was dirty and smelled disgusting. A few of my friends say I'm too harsh with her, but I had really tried to get along with her, but we just don't work. She didn't give my parents her sob story this time though, and so there were no more fights with my parents. Fast forward again to last week, my sister gives me a call and apologizes. She told me that she knows we can never be friends, but she hopes we can be civil. I said absolutely. I want to take a moment to thank all of the people who took time to respond to me, You guys helped me get through Christmas. 20. Still not the a-hole. Sounds like your sister has some stuff to work out that has nothing to do with you. Love the update, and good for you. You were willing to forgive and help, but stood by your boundaries. However, I would have your sister talk to someone. It sounds like she is going through a lot, and the sluggishness could be a sign she is depressed. Get rid of those friends honestly. They aren't supporting you, and apparently see you as an inexhaustible source of hospitality for others. Well, now you know that her initial unreasonableness was not a one-time thing, or the result of specific stress from the time. It's just her being entitled and disrespectful towards other people's things. Sounds like being civil is a good resolution here. You'll still have to see each other for family events, so don't burn that bridge completely. But you certainly shouldn't be doing her any more big favors now that you know how she responds. Not the a-hole. I understand going through depression, and the feeling of giving up on doing basic things, but I still don't think you were compatible in terms of living in the same home. You made the best decision for both of you and your overall sibling relationship. If your sister is going through problems, I hope she gets help. Now for the next story. Update: am I the a-hole for not financially helping family and friends, despite being able to? Original post. My son Nick was born with a congenital heart defect 17 years ago. It required a $60,000 surgery in Israel if he was to survive past 12 months. I've spent the first 3 months of his life running around, begging people and searching for money. My parents gave us $100, they had well-paying jobs and guaranteed state pensions. When I asked my brother for help, he mumbled something about needing to save for his daughter's college. She never went, by the way. Anyone who met her could have told him that much. They did take regular vacations overseas though. My department of 40 at work donated $30 on a card. At one point, I was seriously searching for ways to sell my kidney and liver. My in-laws sold their apartment for $35,000. Best friend gave me another $7,000, which was all he had. Accepting his help was one of the few times I cried in my adult life. I sold my car and every piece of furniture and electronics that wasn't bolted to the walls. My in-laws moved in, and we've spent the next 5 years living together, 5 people, crammed into a 2-bedroom. Surgery was a success. As fate has it, I started a hustle and it took off. After years of hard work, I moved our HQ to a Central European country to be closer to our EU clients. Even discounting for about 2/3 of my wealth that is tied up in the business, I am a multimillionaire. My in-laws now have a 4-bedroom house. We pay for them to go on vacations 3 to 4 times a year, or did before 2020. My son is a hard worker who makes me a very proud father. I can't say that I hate those who didn't help back in the day. Hate is a strong word. Rather, I feel like I've learned my lesson and don't expect anything from them. I don't invite my parents for visits. They are welcome to pay for their flights and a hotel room, but I won't cover their expenses like I do with the in-laws. My brother asked for a loan to start his business 5 years ago. I said the time wasn't right. 2 months ago, his daughter got into a car accident, drunk driving. Nothing seemingly life-threatening, but a lot of nasty scarring on her legs that require a costly cosmetic surgery. I suggested he looks into downsizing as I am focused on helping my kids get good education. Old coworkers who wanted to join my business once it took off, were told to apply through the regular process. Except for my best friend. He's been my partner from the start and I sleep better at night knowing we've got each other's backs. It comes without saying there have been lots of very unhappy people in my life. In our culture, you're expected to support your community and family, do favors. Nepotism is very much an ingrained thing. You're supposed to bring over your family if you're lucky enough to root yourself in the Western world, help friends emigrate. My parents told me to my face they are ashamed of me and how the Western culture has changed me. I've been called many things, way worse than a-hole and heartless. After hearing my story, tell me Reddit, am I though? Edit, to those wondering why my parents had a pretty lukewarm response, if you can even call it that. The surgery had a 40% success rate. They thought we should let nature run its course, and instead, try for a new baby. It may sound horrendous to Westerners, but it's not that cold of a statement to someone in our home country, but obviously wife and I didn't take it well. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Your in-laws sold their $35,000 house to help you. Your best friend gave you all he had to help your son. Nobody else helped you, or even pretended to help you and your son. Your in-laws deserve everything you're giving to them because they were one of the only people there for you at your absolute lowest. You were going to sell your kidney for your son because nobody else helped you. Having your old coworkers who did not help you beg to get into your business don't deserve it, and not only that, but it is 100% fair that they are to apply just as anyone else. Your parents are just angry at you for not sharing your success. Not the a-hole. But your parents and old coworkers certainly are. Ha, this is probably the first time they can't handle me at my worst phrase made any sense to me. Thanks for putting a smile on my face. Try for a new baby? To quote a fellow Redditor, what the Kentucky Fried Duck? Not the a-hole man, glad your kiddo is good and you made it. I often say friends are the family you pick for yourself. Stick with them. Not the a-hole. In our culture, you're expected to support the community. They didn't support you when it was a literal life and death situation for your son. You don't owe them anything. Good for you that everything went so well in your life. Keep supporting those that supported you, like your in-laws and best friend. Not the a-hole. They're not obligated to help you and you're not obligated to help them. Don't help them. But your parents commented about, let nature run its course and instead try for a new baby. Like, what the hell do they smoke? Who tells that to anyone? They essentially told you to let your son die and provide them with another grandchild. Should have gone no contact then and there. Nobody needs such people in their lives. It's very hard to explain this, but it's truly not as horrific as it sounds for people raised and living in that culture. I don't know how to get it across in a just manner. The only very weird analogy that comes to mind is how bone marrow jello is a delicacy in some countries that is served during holidays. And in other cultures, people would have a complete WTF moment if they are told this is food. And now for the update. So, it's been a couple months. I've learned my lesson not to ask 17-year-old kids on Reddit questions about real life and made some decisions, haha. First, a lot of you did make valid suggestions that I took to heart. I spoke to my parents candidly about why I distanced myself from them. They were clearly ashamed, and I think it's that shame and pride that kept them from reaching out and apologizing years ago. My mom kept her face covered with her hands for most of the call. She was clearly sad. Anyway, I ended up telling them I would never want to see them to go destitute, so if they are in poor health or need help with the basic necessities, I'm obviously a call away. Otherwise, things have stayed the same. Next, about my niece. Here's where I disagree hard with most Redditors. She's a 20-something girl who made a tremendously stupid mistake. She took down a pole driving drunk and will pay for that with her physical appearance and health for the rest of her life. It could have been worse, thankfully that's all it was. I talked to her, and as a first step, we paid for her initial scar treatment, some silicone dressings/steroid injections to improve the healing. They can't do the removal surgery until they heal properly and things settle down, so could be another 6 months to a year before they reassess. She asked if I can also help her find a rehab. She wants to pay for it herself. She admitted to having a problem, and I won't go into why she started drinking, but I hope none of the haters have the same reason to turn to a bottle. I also talked to my brother that he's got a year to come up with half the cost of her surgery. If he doesn't come through, we'll have a conversation, but I think the fire is lit under his butt, and I'm covering half for sure. I'll remind people we aren't prosecutors and judges, so when it comes to moral judgments, we should do what we believe is right. I stand by my choices to keep my family at an arm's length but not let them fall into poverty if it comes to it, and I support my niece's attempt to better herself. Thanks to everyone who commented and offered advice. Lastly, please don't send me requests for money. I've read every sob story under the sun after my last post. I'm not an idiot, wasn't born yesterday, and know that any 12-year-old with a keyboard can write a mean tearjerker. I offer tremendous monetary support in my time to local organizations that I can actually see providing support to those in need, so I sleep well at night. Don't bother cursing me out for being heartless. If you're in real need, seek assistance from your local organizations. Best of luck everyone and take care. Now for the closing comments. Good luck to you and your family. I get where you're coming from and don't blame you for keeping your distance with your family. I'm a transplant also, so I get the pressure that comes with that bit. You also have a family of your own to think about. Thanks, that pressure is real. Sorry Redditors were begging for handouts. People suck. My mouth hit the floor when I saw that part. I'm sorry OP, people really suck. Although I didn't see the first post until you posted this with the update, I agree with you on this one. You have made a life-changing event and you can tell who your friends are and not. To be honest, when people hit something in drunk driving, only two things happen. Either they see what they did and turn for help, or they deny it by burying themselves in booze. I fully support you trying to get a start with your parents. Not the a-hole. Thank you for your kindness. I do not understand people who ask strangers for money. It's never not shocking to me to hear about that. Who thinks sending a sob story to a stranger and asking for money will actually work? Works all the time actually. Spam, random scammers on the street, etc. People do it because it's been proven to be effective on the gullible. And that's it for this video guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one.